Hey guys, it's Em, and today we're going to go through hell itself. Now, I like Dark Souls too. I know that's a controversial take, but it's one of my favorite games to just casually play. And I just ended up wondering how I could spice this game up a bit, since I've pretty much ran every single build I could think of. Then it hit me. Knives are shitty in this game. They're the only weapon type I haven't used seriously because I tried them once and... yeah, they're pretty bad, all things considered. So I thought, what a great way to make content. What a great video idea! I'll beat the whole game using knives. Then, for some reason, I also decided to slap a no HUD challenge onto it because I thought the game is pretty. Yeah, dumb fucking reasoning like that will plague this entire run, but it at least helps spice things up a bit. There's also a few little side rules that I want to get out of the way now. We're gonna be beating all of the bosses in this game, including the non-mandatory ones. And I'm not gonna allow myself to use summons, throwing pots, or anything else that would cheapen this experience in any sort of way. It's just gonna be us and whatever knife we choose to use. While I'm making our courageous hero for this run, Bosco, let me tell you about my plan for this run. You know how most challenge runners come in with an expansive database of info or prepare and study for their runs? I didn't do that. The only real rough outline I had for a plan was to get a bleed or poison dagger, as I imagine those would be the strongest types of weapons considering the knife damage itself is pretty shit. Now that our character's made and we're out in the free world, it's time to suffer. First thing we did was kill the Stone Ring Hippo. This is probably the first and only smart thing I do all run. Since knives in this game have low poise breaking ability, I figured this one just made sense to get immediate. Then after that genius move, I found out that the starting dagger doesn't have any sort of bleed at all for some reason.
Oh, I can power stance. Okay, wait. That would be nice. I could do bleed at least. I'm sorry, this knife doesn't do bleed for some reason. Never mind, I take it back.
And after some brainstorming, I decided to head straight towards Dragon Rider. Maybe wondering why I didn't head towards the Forest of the Giants, seeing as that's meant to be the first area. I figured having as many souls as possible early on would make this a lot easier. And considering Dragon Rider and Flexile aren't exactly hard bosses normally, I didn't think it would be too difficult. So after I reached the High Tower, I was immediately reminded I'm using a knife.
Lord.
The first Old Knight took 1 minute to kill, and I'm sure you can imagine that I was a little bit distressed by that information.
Yeah, this is gonna be something.
After that, I killed the Ancient Knight guarding the lever and raised the first platform for Dragon Rider, which I know probably raised a few eyebrows because he has an insta-kill exploit, but honestly I forgot about it and that's the only reason I didn't do it, so let's move on. I decided to run past the other knight since I don't want to be 800 before I even beat the first boss and go directly into the fight. Is there anything interesting to say about the fight itself? No, not really. Dragon Rider isn't exactly known for being the pinnacle of Dark Souls, so I'll keep this section short. Not much eventful happened in the fight itself, but it unironically took me 5 minutes to kill this man. And it wasn't looking great. Even though I knew knives were bad, I didn't think they were that bad. And technically they aren't. Fun fact about the HUD being off, the weapon breaking alert is tied to the HUD. Meaning somewhere in this fight, my knife broke and I was probably hitting him for 1 or 2 damage a pop. Since knife damage is so ass, sometimes in fights I'm gonna have to pop up the menu to make sure the damn thing didn't break in the fight. A little annoying, but not horrible, I guess, all things considered. Going on to No Man's Wharf, this is usually a really hard area, especially if it's your second one, but that's only if you fight the things. Don't get me wrong, I initially intended on fighting everybody, but then after fighting this double sword guy, I noticed knifing everyone to death would take a while, and considering this is one of the easier areas to run past enemies if you know where to go, I quickly just ran over to the lever and called the boat over.
Let me just call the boat. Hurry, hurry. What's this? Oh, fuck. I think he drops a knife, too. Wait. Did I knock the thing over yet? No, I didn't. I gotta hurry. No, I didn't see that undead soldier. Come on!
And then went back to Marjula to prep for the boss fight, which involved killing the merchant from Volgan. Funny enough, I don't think I've ever done this normally. Unfortunately for him, a player phantom appeared next to me while I was heading back to Marjula, and that reminded me that his set existed, so yeah, he just kind of had a little bit of bad luck.
I'm gonna get your ugly ass on, buddy. I might kill him.
So after that, we head straight to Flexile. Flexile's fight isn't too bad. Kinda like Dragon Rider, I can't imagine many people were snapping controllers in half over his complex moveset, but there was a different problem. You see, in this boss area, the room slowly fills up with water. Something you wouldn't really notice on a normal playthrough because you'd probably beat him before it becomes an issue. It's not like this will cause you to drown or anything, but it heavily fucks with your movement. Even though I was using the magic ooze to try and kill him before the water could rise, that combined with me messing up rolls cost me a life, which, knowing I only had 2 magic oozes left, and unknown to me at the time, the next time I could get a reliable source of them is after Earth and Peace. So a lot kinda rode on me winning the next time I went after him, which luckily after a 3-minute fight, I managed to beat him on my second try. Then we set sail for Lost Bastille.
I'm 100% gonna put the One Piece team over this.
I don't think anything could have prepped me for Lost Bastille. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this was probably the second worst area in this whole run for a few reasons. First, the first section of this area. It was a nightmare. The archers were annoying and dealing with them took a while. I didn't have a while because the dogs would attack me. And fun fact about knives, it's very hard to hit the dogs with them in this game. It wasn't relevant in No Man's Wharf because there's only like 1 or 2 of them in that area, but here there's like 9 fucking dogs in this first section and they killed me a lot. And if all that isn't bad enough, a second pursuer spawns here to attack you. And on top of all of that, I have to free McDuff with the bomb method since I couldn't remember where the key to his door was. So let me explain something to you to put this into perspective. My recordings are set for every 30 minutes. All the footage of this section you're seeing is only from my 4th time trying to get through this area. I was so annoyed at how long this section was taking, I unplugged my headset, which is why I don't have any quirky cut-ins for this part. So after managing to reach the second bonfire closer to the Lost Sinner, I took a detour and head over to the Forest of the Giants. I honestly didn't do too much over here. I stocked up on life gems from Granny Melentia, then I walked over to do the first pursuer boss fight. Not much crazy happened. On the second attempt I managed to beat him and I picked up the dull umber for McDuff for when I could eventually save him. I could have fought the last giant since I was here, but since he's not really important or blocking anything, I decided to leave him for later. After that, I kinda wandered around No Man's Wharf for a bit. Given I was a bit stronger, it wasn't horrible, and since I speedran the first time, I didn't really pick up anything. Nothing of note really happened here other than running into Gavlon and Lucatiel.
Hi, Gavlan.
Gavlon. That's my guy. Luke, my beloved?
Since my spirits were higher since I spent a massive amount of time just dicking around in different areas, I decided to head back to Lost Bastille. Not to fight the Lost Sinner or the Ruined Sentinels, but to free McDuff. And after a bit of complicated finagling, I managed to get one of the Royal Guards to blow up the barrel.
Oh, this is so easy. This is so free. Because then he swings, and I'm right here with it, and then he's gonna shoot, and I'm gonna roll. Watch this.
Were there easier ways to probably do this? Yes, but it is what it is. So now you may think, it's time for you to fight the Lost Sinner. And you'd be right. So next we head to... Given my knife is still dog shit, I elected to go get another one.
So wait, I can get the knife. I can get the knife. I wasn't even paying attention.
And this is the place where I can 100% guarantee getting a bandit knife. I ran through it like normal, except I managed to end up on the lower level of the first cave by accident and got jump scared.
Like,
After that, we fought Rowena, opened Creighton's cell, and head right to Skeleton Lords, which was interesting. Don't get me wrong, even in this challenge, the Skeleton Lords are kind of a joke, but since my damage is so low, I actually managed to see the Lord's attacks. Their base movesets without all the skeletons seem kinda neat, and apparently you can parry them. But disregarding all that, once I got past them, we got to the fun part where all the skeletons swarming.
oh lord.
You can usually just one-shot them, but with my shitty little knife, it took 3 hits to kill each of these skeletons. So as you can imagine, this fight took a while. As in, this fight was around 6 minutes. It wasn't stressful like Flexile or Dragon Riders since the skeletons barely do damage. It was just a little bit tedious.
This is actually insane. I guarantee you even the composer hasn't heard the song this far.
After that, we let the bridge down and walk over to Earth in Peace. Talk to the Stone Trader to get her to move the Marjula, and then I light the bonfire. You may assume my next course of action is to fight Mytha. After leveling my weapons and stuff a little bit more, I was feeling a bit more confident. So I decided to hit the Lost Sinner and get her out of the way since we already lit the bonfire close to her. Also, you may have noticed I didn't follow up on that bandit knife point I made in the last section, and that's because I didn't find it. So, here we're gonna have to fight her with our basic dagger. After losing a life to open the door, we make it to the fog wall, buff with the humanity, then apply poison to her dagger and head off. As for the fight itself, if someone watched this without context, they'd probably assume she's the easiest boss in the game since I beat her in 1 minute. After that, I light the primal bonfire and then I head off to deal with the pursuer in the area and then go save Strayed. But I didn't notice I didn't have any branches on me, so I decided to leave him for now, seeing as we don't really need anything from him yet. And I decided to go to the next area. Do not ask me why I decided to do things in this botched order. I honestly don't know either, and looking back on it, it's kind of crazy. Honestly, this area is not that big and the enemies are really easy, so there isn't much to say about it. I fought the Royal Rat Authority, and other than getting blitzed on my first try, then dying a few more times because my knife couldn't reach the little poison rats, I beat him pretty easily after I got rid of him. I then lit the bonfire for Brightstone Seldora, and headed back to... This time I was actually going through the area. Other than getting slapped by one of the priestesses...
This bitch!
And stumbling into Gavilan while saying his name wrong,
Galvin, my guy.
to sell my stuff, nothing really stopped me from reaching Covetous. And as you can imagine, Covetous wasn't that hard.
Yep. Oh. Ow. He can hit them from the ceiling?
Afterwards, as you're probably used to at this point, instead of doing the sensible thing and going straight to Mytha, I went back to Lost Bastille real quick to free Strayed, then went further back to Hyde's area to fight the old Dragon Slayer. And he immediately shit on me.
Hey Ornstein, hey buddy. How are you doing? Fuck you, buddy. Bro, he's just destroying me. Let me get up. Why am I so bad?
As I said in the recording, it was just me being bad. So after I died that first time, I beat him with little difficulty. Honestly, the run up to him took longer than the actual fight.
Ow, oh my, Jesus Christ.
Since the Hyde Knights are now awake and I actually have to fight them or else they'll kill me at the dragon. Funnily enough, the Knights by themselves weren't really that bad. Parrying them is pretty easy. It was more so all of them clumped around each other that made it frustrating. So after all that, I went back and actually fought Mytha. You may be wondering where the footage is for this part. I honestly have no fucking idea. I may have honestly forgot to save the recording somehow. Luckily, we'll see her again soon for reasons I'm not going to talk about yet. But in short, her area and the fight itself were pretty easy. Mytha isn't really super difficult, and you can pretty much speedrun towards her if you know where to go. On top of all that, there's a bonfire right above where you fight her, so there isn't really much to say here. But if you were worried about this run sounding too easy, don't worry. I went the straight path this time, meaning the next area was... Iron Keep was the fucking nightmare of this run, for a few reasons we're gonna get into. My introduction to this area was fighting Armored Dennis, the NPC invader.
I'm like, I'm not trying to fight both of you little crusty asses. Like, where did you even... Press it. I got him, boss!
Now, this pissed me off for a while, as he managed to kill me quite a few times until I managed to parry him to death.
Yeah, fuck you, Dennis.
But soon after, I learned this would be the least of my worries. The Elan Knights became my worst nightmare for a few days. First of all, they're very fast. Second, there's a lot of them packed together. They aren't so bad if you have a bow or can split aggro, but since I'm using knives, I obviously can't do that. Then there's when I actually have to fight the knights. I don't do enough damage to kill them in a normal string, so I usually just have to parry them to kill them. Problem being, they have two moves. This overhead slash that you want because it's pretty easy to parry, then this poke attack. You have to input the parry pretty much immediately for the overhead, but if they do the poke attack, you have to wait a minute or so before you do it. So this led to a lot of times I went to parry the overhead and then ate shit on the poke. In a few concentrated areas, it wasn't that bad, but this fucking bridge section?
You said not today? What the fuck?
This section alone made me question if this video was even worth it, cause now I had to fight a ton of them, pretty much at the same time, while also dealing with an archer shooting at me. And if I got past all of that, towards the end of the bridge is where the Smelter Demon fight is, where I'd have to fight even more of them. And this is for every attempt I'd want to do with Smelter Demon. And if I was to lose the fight again, I'd have to do all of this again, which happened multiple times. Either the guards would kill me, or on the few rare occasions I actually reached Smelter Demon, he'd kill me and I'd have to start the cycle all over again. This went on for so long that the enemies in this entire section stopped spawning. It was that bad. And you may be wondering why I haven't shown any of the Smelter Demon fight yet. That's because he deserves his own section. This bitch was unironically one, if not the hardest boss in this entire run for a few reasons. One, Smelter Demon's stats. Do you know what he's immune to? Bleed. Do you know what my Bandit Dagger does? A bleed. Meaning I was pretty much debuffed this entire boss fight. Well, he's not immune to poison. Why didn't you use Mythos Blade since you have it already? Do you think this is a Challenger Andy video where I researched this run before I started? I assumed that this Fire Rock Golem would be immune to poison since, you know, he's a fucking rock. So I didn't even try to poison him. Then let's get onto the run specific problem. Like the second part of the name, no HUD. Now, why is this annoying here? Well, when Smelter Demon hits second phase, he has a constant fire damage area around him. Given I can't see my health bar, I'm sure you can understand why this would be a little bit of an issue. It's not like I'll usually die from it since I can pop life gems every time he gives me an opening, but it's more so it lets him one-shot me a majority of the time, if he can land a hit on me. Then on top of all that, my damage is really shit. I don't know why, but once he reached half health, it would take me 5 minutes or so to kill him. Don't ask me how I could get him to half health in 1 minute, but then it would take 5 minutes to seal the deal. And before you type my knife was probably broken, it wasn't. I genuinely don't know what was going on. As for a time frame for how long this fight took, my clips are saved in sets of 30 like I said before. I have 4 sets of clips, and those didn't include all of my attempts. So I feel you can understand what I mean by this took a long time. Even when I beat him, there wasn't some special strategy figured out. It was just an endurance match to see who died first. Luckily after him, the next area is pretty easy. You can kill all the grunts around here with the trap platforms, and the old Iron King, no matter what the run will be, just isn't difficult. I was so confident I just wore the Seldora set the entire fight, disregarding me light rolling to death.
Whoa. Not me rolling into the... That is the first time I've ever died to that.
I pretty much stomped him. After him, we head to the next infamous area. I know a lot of people find Black Gulch and Blighttown very annoying, but I don't really mind either of them, as once you roughly get a feel for what to do, I don't think they're that bad. Though, I'll admit, I did get a little lost during this playthrough, but it did lead to me finding some nice armor.
I'm feeling it a little bit. Scrawny Knight adventures? Scrawny Knight with knife?
After I reached the bottom, the Rotten wasn't very far away. And just like the old Iron King, I decided to wear the Seldora set because I didn't think he'd be much of a threat. So after a cocky failed sidestep attempt,
I didn't expect him to turn.
I steamrolled him. Now, what happened next? Now, sensibly, we would have kept going through the plot, but I'm crazy, so the next few days all I did was grind out the hide chestplate. Why? It looks nice. Doesn't help me with the run at all. I'm gonna skim this section for the sake of this video, but just know, I was here for quite a while. After that, we end up at... You may be thinking, hey how'd you get to Drangleic Castle without fighting Dukesteer Freya? I did fight Dukesteer Freya. My recording software wants to pretend that I didn't though, so apparently I didn't record me fighting Dukesteer Freya or anything in Brightstone Seldora because I must have done it so fast. We will return to this and I will go through this area in New Game, but since I don't want to spoil what my build ends up being by the end of this run, you'll see that towards the end of this video. I remember looking at the wiki and hearing the Chancellor here can give you one of the best knives, the Flamestone Dagger. When I reached him, he wasn't selling any of the DLC weapons, and I'm not exactly sure why. It wasn't super pressing because I didn't know how good the dagger was anyway, so onwards we marched through the castle till a bit of a unfortunate death.
Like yesterday, honestly. I rolled off the map. I may have ended up in the drink, bro.
I decided to take a small detour for something that would actually help with the run, and I went to go get the Giant Seed. Unfortunately, a previous threat decided to reappear.
Not him again.
Armored Dennis. Now, since this is an earlier area, he's easier to deal with, but for some fucking reason, this turtle guy decided to join the fight. This might as well have been the next Ornstein and Smo fight for me, because unknown to me, my knife broke hitting the turtle, and I couldn't notice it because Dennis was hiding after him, so I couldn't see my damage numbers.
Oh my god. This sucks!
So after an unfortunate death, I shanked him.
Yeah, when your boy ain't here.
Quickly picked up the Giant Seed and went back to Drangleic Castle.
Bro. No, I lost the ball souls! No! Ooh.
Where we fought the Looking Glass Knight. Now this fight, I'll admit it wasn't hard like the Smelter Demon or anything, just more so annoying. You'd think knives hitting his shield wouldn't be that big of a problem since the hitbox is so small I shouldn't be able to hit it. But no, I managed to clack onto it multiple times during the fight. Then there's the issue of the amount of health he has. He seemed to take a little less time than Smelter did. Luckily for me, he doesn't have a passive fire AoE, but unluckily for me, he can summon NPC invaders. Usually he can only summon one before you kill him, but since my damage is so shitty, he managed to summon two. By itself, his moveset isn't too bad. So other than getting stalled by these two, he himself wasn't that hard to beat. And after him, as we all know, is one of the most infamous areas in Dark Souls 2. This area has the record for being the most aggravating gray hair growing ball splitting area in DS2. And for this run, it was annoying, sure, I definitely died a few times, but if you backstab a few of the mages, it's honestly not that miserable. Especially when compared to Iron Fortress.
Alright, fine. Fuck you, I don't care. Bro. Backstab. I'm sorry, did that two-tap me? Bro, no!
So after easily skimming past the mages, we destroy the Demon Asong as she's one of the easier bosses in this game in general. So after taking the Key of the Embedded, my beloved favorite weapon, we head to the... I don't know if people normally consider the catacombs difficult, but this area wasn't much of note either, and honestly I got through it way faster than expected. At least till we got to Velstadt. I don't even have much to say about Velstadt other than he's healthy. He does a lot of damage and sets a precedent for the bosses past him. As you've probably noticed, healthy bosses are becoming annoying because of how low my damage is. And since they can kill me in 1 or 2 hits, the margin for error is very small. So this is annoying by itself, but then you stack on the fact he has a high resistance to poison. You know, the other main damage type I have. He's apparently not immune to bleed, but I was doing so little with that knife it hardly mattered. This fight actually got me frustrated, to the point where I didn't record myself beating it. I don't know how that slipped my mind, but I guess I was so over the fight itself I didn't record when I won. You're just gonna kinda have to take my word for it. So after all that, we get the King's Room, which was right behind me. So after that, I decided to go get a second Mytha knife, so I fought her on New Game with a bonfire aesthetic. I didn't expect it to be hard, as Myth is one of the most honest bosses in this game, but I'll admit, this took me a while. Heading back to the main story now, we enter... You might be wondering why I mixed these two together. Mainly because not much happened in either of these areas. Funnily enough, most of the time I spent on this run in Aldia's Key was not due to its difficulty, but it was because I was feeling adventurous and decided to get Aldia's Key. And since I didn't Google anything, I had to find all the torches by myself. Was the reward really worth it? Not really, but the room looked really cool though. And we ended up getting jump scared by a mimic.
This is giving Mimic. I don't know why. Why would you have a Mimic here? Like, that would make the least amount of sense. And I'm right, of course. Oh my god. That one better not be a Mimic. You think all of them are? What?
In the Dragon's Eyrie, the Guardian Dragon fight was easy. Just imagine the dragon we fought to reach Old Dragon Slayer in this section. Then we go through the rest of the area as standard. I didn't explore a majority of this area, as I don't think there's much that would really help me in this run around here other than 1 or 2 petrified bones. So I went straight up to the Ancient Wyvern and managed to get the Ashen Mist Heart, taking us to the end game. From here we go back to the Forest of the Giants and quickly go through the memories. As in a normal playthrough, this is usually my favorite part of the game, but since we're in a knife only run, I pretty much run past the entire war to get to the Giant Souls. And as for the Giant Lord, after suffering an embarrassing loss from him, we deal with him pretty easily. From here, my pathing gets really messy and we don't go to any new areas, so we're gonna get rid of the title cards. After dealing with the Giant Lord, I decided to go back to Executioner's Cherry, seeing as he's a boss I always forget exists. Nothing really notable happened in the fight itself. Afterwards, I went to fight Throne Watcher and Defender.
They're just both swinging, like, what do you want me to do?
This didn't end well for me, at all. Like, I lost so many times I respect in the faith just to use lightning because that's their weakness, and still kept losing. I got so frustrated at this point, I decided to go back and fight the Ancient Dragon to blow off some steam. You know, one of the worst fights in this entire game. Then I came back and basically threw myself at these two for the next hour or so. Why are they so bad? They're like Ornstein and Smo, but get rid of the pillars breaking aggro, put it in a flat space where you can't really go anywhere, and they pretty much forgot to make one way slower than the other, or pause from time to time. They just overlap attacks sometimes, which is really annoying to deal with. it's hard to find opportunities to deal good damage to them. And since I have a knife, I still have to chip away at them with little margin for error. Then there's little annoying shit about this fight, like the fact that you can parry them but they can dodge out of being stunned for some reason. Or when I actually got an opening on the big one, he could dodge really fast towards the other. But if I decided to discuss everything that happened in this fight, we'd be here the entire day. In the end, it was a war of attrition. I had managed to down both of them once, and when Defender dropped the second time, I just barely managed to kill Watcher before she revived them. I was stuck on this fight for so long it became a pride thing, and I was so proud of myself for beating them. You could imagine the surprise on my face when Lissandra decided to float into the room as I forgot about her entirely. Since I didn't want to finish this off just yet, seeing as I forgot about a pretty big somebody, I warped out as soon as the fight started and made my way towards Vendor, which as you could imagine, wasn't exactly the most difficult fight. A little tedious, but I wouldn't exactly say it was stressful. After this, there's only side bosses we need to deal with before we wrap up. We head back to the Lost Bastille and fight the Belfry Gargoyles, which were kind of a mess. Honestly, I beat them the first time, but the footage got deleted. But me, being a man of honor, and the fact that my recording skipped the whole area for you guys, I decided to use a bonfire aesthetic and fight them again, which kinda caused it to be a repeat of the Throne Watcher and Defender fight. Sure, they don't have as much health as them, so it wasn't horrible, but since my damage was kinda low and they were new game bosses, I got overwhelmed a few times, but just barely managed to clutch it out. After then, we head to the Grave of Saints, because I forgot to record the other Royal Rat fight, meaning I had to fight them on new game as well, which wasn't horrible, but we had two minor problems. First, I had no idea when the Mohawk Rat would spawn. I know it's difficult to imagine, but I never thought that hard about this fight, so I didn't even really have an estimate how long it would take for him to show up. On top of this, normally you see his health bar when he drops it, but the HUD isn't on, so there isn't a health bar to see. Both of these things together led to me waiting a minute or so, squabbling with the smaller rats, waiting for the larger one to drop, with me hoping that it would drop soon and healing along the way because I wasn't sure how much damage these guys did on New Game. Luckily, I found the boss rat near as soon as he dropped, so we were able to wrap him up real quick.
Bro, when has this rat ever had... Like, bro, you have like 2 hits of health. If you don't get out of my face.
I'm sure many of you were wondering where Last Giant was. And again, I forgot to record him. So then I just went and beat him. It's Last Giant. No matter what run you're doing, this fight is never going to be that challenging. Other than fighting this boar I couldn't remember seeing because I don't often do new game runs on my side characters.
Oh, fuck. Is that, pig always here?
There wasn't too much stopping me from reaching the mages. But the mages on New Game with a knife was pretty stressful. Now normally you walk in and just smash them up in moments. You don't even really have to bother with many of their attacks as you can kill them really quickly. But with my shitty little knife, that obviously isn't the case. This fight was unironically kinda difficult. The little goons were just distractions. They weren't too annoying. But the mages and the clerics were pressing me. If I hit the mages, one of the clerics would try to chuck a lightning bolt at me. If I went after the clerics, the mages would do his force push attack. As I said, the goons overall aren't really a problem, but the little crawlers could body block me, and the only downwards attack I could have to hit them would require me to one-hand and lock onto them. And with all this going on, the clerics will constantly heal or buff the others. The fight came down to a lot of kiting and patience, mainly because I still had my lightning knife and I was using it on faith enemies. Once I got them away from the mages, it was pretty easy to take them down, and the mages himself couldn't do much against a few heavy attacks, and the remainders were just crawlers at this point. Since the one-handed attack on this knife hits vertically, they went down pretty easily. Then to Freya. Honestly, a lot happened on the way there, and instead of summarizing it, I'll just show you.
Jump from here, go down here. I'm literally a speedrunner. I like how I just learned that just now. Like, Dark Souls 2, man. You know, you always learn something new, no matter what playthrough you're on. First, 800th, there'll always be something for you. Like, never mind. Game shit. Game is horrible dog water. There's an NPC here on New Game. Fuck! I was literally just talking about you, man. Oh, he doesn't take poison damage. What is his poise? This man is wearing robes. He has robes and big pants. Like, what are we talking about? I know it's been a while since I played DS2, but I think I could do this. Oh, he's cooked. He's cooked. He's cooked. He's cooked. He's... How did I awoke every... Oh, bro, what are we doing? We are misplaying. We are misplaying. I have just aggroed every human in the tri-state area. Oh my god. Okay, this is bad. This is... I don't know, man. It might be, You know, I think there is a way we can do this, honestly. It involves running past enemies, which you can't do in Dark Souls 2. It may or may not work. We're gonna have to find out. Who's in the door? This thing? What is this? Oh, he's used to playing Elden Ring. I need you to get out of the fucking doorway. Like now. Like now. Like actually right now. Come on. We're good. We're good. I don't think any of them can climb, and the spiders will probably block the guy. Okay, let's not die to Freya. Running past enemies in Dark Souls 2 is impossible, actually.
So after all of that, we eventually reach Freya. And honestly, Freya's fight was kinda simple. Whenever I play this area, I keep a torch in hand. As I'm sure you've heard by now, the torches scare away the spiders, which gets rid of half of this fight's gimmick. But at the same time, it halves your damage output. Given I have a knife, halving my damage on new game difficulty isn't exactly a favorable position for me. Now, Freya in herself isn't exactly hard, but I'm pretty ass at this fight. The big hitboxes and her limbs being off screen never really went well for me. It was pretty long with me panicking a majority of it, but we still managed to get through it first try. After this, we have one side boss left, that being Darklurk. I know most people hate going through these dark chasm areas, but I don't particularly mind them. Given you can parry all these guys and I have a knife, which knives have the best proposed damage in the game most of the time, it wasn't exactly hard to get through this. The Dark Lurker fight itself, though, was pretty fun. I've only fought Dark Lurker one time before this, and that was when I did my first playthrough of this game like 1 or 2 years ago. I died a few times to him, but I'll admit they were all pretty much my fault. And after him, we pretty much only have 2 fights left, Nashandra and Albia. Now Nashandra, as always, is a pushover. Nothing of note really happened with her. Aldia, on the other hand, I'm not gonna hype it up like it was the craziest FromSoft boss fight in history, but he was doing moves I didn't remember him having. I initially only remember him having the floor tendril move, but he started shooting fireballs, doing this spirit bomb, and a few other little things. But at the end of the day, Aldia is still Aldia. So after a surprisingly long fight, we managed to beat him, walking away from the throne in search of other answers. Our story is going to take some weird turns at the start, so let me explain a few things. In preparation for this run after beating the base game, I decided to start grinding some Twinkling Titanite from the Shrine of Amana, which is why you're seeing footage of that in the background right now. Given the DLCs are significantly harder than the base game, especially when it comes to bosses, every little edge counts. Speaking of which, you may notice my armor's a little bit different. We'll talk about the mask and why I have it later, but the rest of it is the low-end set, if that's how you say that word. If you've played DS2, you know this set also happens to come with a knife, the Royal Dirk, and to my surprise, it does slightly more damage than the Black Flame Dagger. So when you see me using some knife I never had before or acknowledged the last video, that's what that is. In theory, I could have got this during the base playthrough, seeing as all you need to do to get this is to beat the Giant Lord and then talk to the Chancellor, but as I said multiple times last video, I didn't particularly study for it, and to be honest, I forgot this set and knife even existed. But now that we're here, it'll help with the more difficult bosses. I decided to do the DLCs in most to least difficult order. Room Tower's enemies are gonna be a pain in the ass with their high damage, nigh invincibility until I use the wedges, and those lava arm guys, alongside the infamous Blue Smelter demon run-up. And that isn't even including the bosses themselves. Blue Smelter, not including the run-up, is gonna be a rebatch of arguably the worst fight I had all base game. Alon is an overall good boss. I don't find him annoying or broken, but his moveset might trip me up here and there. And as for Fume Knight, he's one of the most infamous fights in Dark Souls 2 difficulty-wise, so I feel I don't need to explain that much about him. So we'll go to that DLC first. Ellium Lois will be next, as while the enemies there are a bit easier, the fact we'll have to engage with so many of them to find 3 knights is gonna suck ass, cause even in base, that's one of my least favorite parts of this game in general. And since I'll have to use my knife and most likely go through these areas multiple times due to dying because it's a knife, it's not something I'm looking forward to. I'm not too afraid of the bosses here, but unfortunately we have 2 of the worst boss run-ups in the entire trilogy. Charred Ellium Lois Knights, and an itsy bitsy small, hardly talked about area I doubt you've even heard of called the Frigid Outskirts. So we'll handle that DLC second. Last is Shulvar the Sunken King. I don't have that much to say about this one, to be honest. The areas are pretty standard with not much annoying about them. The enemies don't have any insane attacks or gimmicks that I could see costing me a ton of lives. Sin and Alana are pretty normal difficulty-wise, and the run-ups aren't horrible. The only thing I could see being a bit of a problem is the Grave Robbers. But even then, it's nowhere near as annoying as the things I'll have to deal with the other 2 DLCs. And after all that, we'll have our ultimate crown and can wrap up the run. So, now that you've heard the plan, it's time to execute. Broom Tower was interesting. I'm sure a few of you eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed in the last section I had the Fume Sorcerer's mask on, which would have meant I'd been to Broom Tower before the end of last run, which is true. I had done a massive chunk of Broom Tower while I was recording for the original run, because the Fume Sorcerers here have 2 knives, and the Firearm guys have the chance to drop a Minotaur helmet, which I wanted for some reason. Meaning during the exploring section, I was significantly weaker than I was at the end of the run. Did that impact much? No, not really. So I want you to picture this. You're under level. All you have is a knife, no HUD, and you're against enemies that can 2-tap you in groups and sometimes get you stuck in combos. What's the most effective way to get through an area like that? Running, of course. You see, in order to fight the bosses, we only really need to get the power back on, meaning we can skip over some of the more annoying side areas. Given Alluring Skulls can distract the hollows on this level, and that's the main enemy type out of the 4 we fight here, it takes a lot of the heat off of us should we need to do something. So after one death to Smelter Wedge, one of the Queen's ghost things, like I said earlier, we ran.
I think it works on everyone but him. Come on, 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 come on!
And we made it all the way to the center room. Now after this, we can't exactly avoid enemies, as the square-shaped cage room practically forces you to fight a few of the fume sorcerers. Despite how extra their attacks look, they're probably some of the easiest enemies to deal with in all the DLCs. They overly telegraph everything, they flinch without even needing the stone ring sometimes, and they practically hand out free backstabs. The big headless guys though, they're a pain in the ass. My knife doesn't do much damage to them. Their arm lava can get you stuck in 2-hit combos, and overall they're just kind of annoying. With the one at the end of the hallway, I managed to pull a Home Alone trap tactic which made him stand directly in the fire. Moving on to the connecting tower, it honestly wasn't so bad. The little blobby guys aren't much to be concerned about as they're kinda slow. The main thing of note here is the NPC invader towards the bottom. This was the main reason I decided to go out of my way and get the giant seed in the first part. So after I finally managed to find it in my inventory and use it,
Wait, what the fuck? I'm like, use it ugly? Do not backstab me, I'll start crying.
it was pretty much over as I started opening the doors and the blobby guys started pouring in. The fun gimmick about these enemies is if they're hit with fire, they enter a more aggressive second phase which can make them explode and do massive damage. Since as soon as she spawns, she infuses her weapon with fire, if she accidentally hits one of them, it's pretty much over for her.
Yeah.
After that, we grabbed the fire stick thing, and then we died trying to go up the elevator with all the blobby dudes on it. Not that I was particularly torn up about it.
Also, I guess that saved me to travel back. I don't think there's any items up there anyway, so...
Reaching Fume Knight's area afterwards isn't particularly difficult, and at that point, I was gonna wait to see how the first video did, so I left it alone and got to grinding the Fume Sorcerers and Headless guys for the knives and Minotaur helmet. Long story short, after a few days, I got the Blue Dagger, which is painfully mid, but boosts magic damage. I can't use magic damage, so it was really just a big fucking waste of time. What I really wanted was the Umbral Dagger, as it has high backstab damage, but seeing as it's me playing, the RNG gods decided just to not drop it for some reason. And I had killed all of them so many times they stopped respawning. So either I joined the Covenant of Champions, or I just give up on it, which I did. As for the Minotaur helmet, after wedging every ghost thing around Fume Knight's area and fighting the Headless guys to the point they stopped respawning, I did get it, but for some reason I thought the eyes on it glowed, so I was disappointed and never ended up wearing the thing. Now, after all that, we cut back to current day, where all that's really left is to fight the bosses. Given Fume Knight's bonfire isn't super far from his fog wall, I decided to go for him first. First attempt, I went for the old faithful Mytha Knife poison. Things were going standard. He was getting some little nicks on me, but I was doing okay. But the longer the fight went on, I kinda noticed, maybe he should have been poisoned by now.
There's no way they made him immune to poison. He's literally just a guy. That would be stupid, right?
So one loss in a Google search later, turns out he's immune to poison, leaving us with the good old Royal Dirk at a pretty standard one-on-one fight with Fume Knight. How'd it go?
Is this second phase or...
Now if this was a base game boss, this would be where I said I beat him easily and kept going. This was not the case. Fume Knight's already fairly difficult normally, and his second phase was absolutely dogging me. He also has some interesting hitboxes on his sword at this phase.
Fucking stupid ass Qbert move, it's fine. I don't know about that one.
After enough losses, a ring swap, and better understanding what he does, we finally managed to put him down.
He has to be close to dying. There's no way he's not. Like, thank you, dog. Get out of my face.
Allowing us to snag the crown and head on to the other bosses.
Hey, baby girl, how about you give me that crown? Thanks. Good look. Ugly.
But before that, we have a funny little side arc. As you saw in the first part, we killed the Vulcan guy. Seeing as I stopped wearing that set since like the Rotten boss, I kinda wanted to bring him back, seeing as he carries a lot of outfits I like towards the end of the game. Somewhere along the grapevine I had heard if you pay for forgiveness, he'd come back, and given how fucking much this priest was trying to rob me of, I assumed that would be true. So I gave practically all the souls from Fume Knight to the priest, and when I came back, he was still dead, obviously, because that's not how the game works. So now, slightly disgruntled, I headed back to the next closest boss, Blue Smelter. Now I'm sure we all know about how infamous the Blue Smelter run-up is, and for me, it was one of the easiest parts of this run. No, I'm serious. Once I got past the first time deliver room, I made it to the bottom, killed the wizard guy, then would wait for the headless guy to whiff a swing so I could get in the boss room. The fight is pretty much the same as the one from the last video, just the attack timings are slightly different, which didn't throw me off too much. Having correctly assumed he was weak to poison just like his base game counterpart, I used Mythos daggers, and I lost, with one real question on my mind.
Bro, he should be poisoned now, bro. I can't see anything on him. He just glows in the dark. Like, what?
Given he seemed to go into second phase quite quickly, I assumed it was working, and decided I'd feel out if I should keep using Mythos Blade or the Royal Dirk based on this next attempt. But as you know, the next attempt would require me to run through all of those enemies again, and it was easy. I honestly have no idea how I managed to get through this area twice practically unscathed, but here we are. And stepping back into the arena, I won. Yep, Blue Smelter and his arena only took 2 deaths off of me. In the last video, the only real issue I had with him was I had no real way to damage him as I didn't know about his poison weakness, and I barely had any defense. The rest of him, even his fire aura, wasn't super horrible. So now, even though he's buffed up a little bit, it's not like there was much he could do to surprise me. With both of them out of the way, all that's left was Alon. Funnily enough, I completely forgot where his area was, but bullshitted walking into the correct path.
And then this comes down or up. See, I've played Dark Souls too. Okay, I might as well have been in death. Okay, I know how all this shit works. I don't care. This is the Scholar Edition. This is all I deal with all day. Okay, whatever happens now is whatever happens now. They got emotes? Okay.
So after all that, I step into Alon's memory and try to run past all 8 million guards, but I get spat on by everyone's favorite, the Fire Salamanders. So after getting a quick refresher of what the area looked like,
damn!
Just like Blue Smelter, I scrambled past all 8 million bosses and ended up in the boss room.
What's up, ow?
Alon, like Fume Knight, is a pretty fair fight. He's in line with a lot of the Dark Souls 3 fights, with fair openings but also moving semi-fast. What I had forgot about was his mix-ups with his lunge, which cost me both my first and second attempts.
See, you were meant to dodge.
And from there, it just kept getting more and more interesting.
I don't know about that one. Stop. Why is he only hitting me with this move? That sounded like a death noise. Oh, man. Look at him. He think he posing for a screenshot. Look.
At our 4th or so attempt, I managed to lock in, get my dodge timing right, avoid his funny, stupid hitboxes, and beat him.
Juan. Thank you. Oh my god.
Meaning that we've done everything there is to do here, and we move on to the next DLC. On to my favorite location, Aluminum Moist. I love the aesthetic, fucking hate the area. Now this DLC forces you to walk around and engage with enemies, and unlike the base game, these guys aren't super weak, at least not if you're using a knife. For each of these normal ice guys, it would take a backstab and some change to kill them, or just one parry. Now maybe if there was just 1 or 2 of them, this would be fine, but when I have to do that for almost every enemy here, you can imagine how tedious it gets. I can poison them, however with the frosty backdrop of the map, it is nigh impossible to see when I actually poison the enemies.
He was. Bro, guys, editing me is gonna play that whole fight raw. Tell me where you saw he got poisoned.
The main early points of contention are this city plaza and the door room with the dogs in it. The plaza I feel is self-explanatory. A clump of 5 dudes with spears and swords against 1 guy with a knife. And then factor in any time I fail around this area, I'm sent to a bonfire before this, and I have to fight all these guys again. Then the door room is okay if I take out the prior enemies, I just have to be extremely careful to not get boxed in. Once we got past them, it wasn't that hard to reach the next bonfire. So after a few more misadventures, we reach the eye that lets us see Ava and we go back to the boss room. Ava is another very honest fight, so I shouldn't have died here. That being said, I died twice. No real excuses, I just got kinda sloppy. On our third attempt, we managed to get the cat out of the way, and then our real hell begins. The quest for the Loist Knights. Fuck the areas they make you go through to save these guys. The first one we saved was the one in the tower full of enemies. I very carefully tiptoe and train the enemies around to not aggro the golems. Take my time dealing with the 2 crystalback guys because they have a good bit more health than their normal versions. Save the knight, then parry the holy knight to death. On to the next pathway, we deal with the infamous Loist hedgehogs. You know what's more fun than dealing with an enemy with a permanent hitbox? An enemy with a permanent hitbox when you have no HUD. And upon going back down there, I stumbled into what I didn't know would be the next Armored Dennis of this run. Alpha Armor Guy. I'm pretty sure he has a name, but with no HUD, I can't see it. Now, did we have to fight this guy? No. But after our first encounter, it became personal.
Has anyone ever liked any spear weapon in the history of any of these damn games? And ever, just...
And honestly, I think I started losing my mind near this section.
I love playing make-believe.
I'm making all this look really short for you guys, but this was like 2 days of me playing this DLC at this point. The next time I got back on, I got him to run to his second location, which prompted our final fight, which I feel I can't even summarize, as it speaks for itself.
What is his poise? What are we talking about? Is he poisoned again? He has 2 heals. I don't ever want to see another spear in my life. Am I out of life gems? Oh my fucking god. He has 2 heals! Y'all made him harder than the actual final boss of the game. 4? Are you shitting me? This is ridiculous. And he's poisoned. Take the Lord, he dies. Wow. I want a trophy after that.
So after all that, we run past everybody and save the Loist Knight, cause I'd be damned if I spent any more time in this section. The last Knight's area wasn't exactly horrible as long as we played it safe and slow.
You are a bitch, bro. Oh, but...
Even the Invader and Knight duo wasn't that bad. After gathering all the knights, I headed back to Marjula. I'm not particularly sure why other than to stall the annoying fight that I know I was gonna have to suffer, but I also decided to pick up any NPC rewards that I had missed after beating the initial run. I also went and picked up the binoculars, and after being a little chaotic, my inner YouTuber came out.
Oh my god. Is this how like the channels get their fucking thumbnails? I could see this if I made like another Dark Souls 2 video, like the title would be on the, oh let me do this. The title would be on the left and it'd be like The Sins of Dark Souls 2 or some shit. Come on, put the font right on the top right. The NPC woes of Dark Souls 2. I don't know, bro. That's a free. I just gave out 2 free thumbnails. Come on.
We all know what has to happen next. We go into the old chaos to fight the Ivory King, or more accurately, the Charred Loist Knights. These fuckers are way harder than the Ivory King himself, just due to the way they all tend to charge at you at the same time, ignoring the fact that you even brought other guards, and that they're immune to backstabs. Though I usually struggle a lot, and did struggle a bit here, I did manage to get to Ivory King in 2 attempts. Instead of explaining how the fight went, I'll just show you some highlights.
He's so cool though. Oh, okay. Every time this man comes out, I forget how fast he can. You fucker. Oh. Oh, we're out. That roll had me stressed. I hope someone else's eyes bulged out of their head like mine did right there. I forgot we ran. The fuck? He's Soul Ascender?
So after some last minute sightseeing, we all know what's next. There isn't even much for me to say here. The Frigid Outskirts is shitty as it always is, but even more so with my little daggers. Normally with any other weapon, you can at least stagger these guys, but since I can't do that here... God damn it! I might be cooked. I can't, I literally cannot dodge anywhere. God damn it. After the 10th or so death, I saw that I either accept my fate of being stuck here for the next 2 weeks, or I could use something to at least reach the boss. So I made a compromise and decided to use the first greatsword I saw until the boss door, which would have to be unleveled of course, and I would keep the HUD off. That somehow ended up being the key of the embedded. That's right, that small little joke I made in the last part somehow ended up being foreshadowing. Now don't think that made this area a ton easier or anything. It still sucks ass and I died a lot, but at least it was somewhat bearable to deal with these demon horses since I could stun them. So after some drudgery, I finally managed to reach Ludenzalen for the first time. To which I then proceeded to die to Ludenzalen.
No! Oh, that was almost really loud. That was almost super loud. Oh, bro, that was about to be real.
And as you could imagine, I was thrilled with the thought of going through that area again, and again, and again. Honestly, at this point, I joined a party and started talking to my friends because I wasn't sure how long this section was gonna take. On the final attempt, I was pulling out all the stops because I was so fucking tired of walking through this tundra and fighting the demon corns for up to 10 minutes a pop just to reach the boss. And the funny thing about this is, I don't even think they're that hard. This is one of the better duo fights in this game. As I said earlier, Ava is one of the more honest fights in this game. Her movements are slow, so it's not insanely hard to react to her even if there is 2 of them. So here's the supercut of that fight.
I need to kill this one. Like, this one has to die. Like, if I can oh, fuck. I got confused. I don't remember which one is which one, honestly. I know someone's gonna go like, wow, what are you, a goldfish? Bro has no recollection. I disagree with that hitbox, honestly, but okay. I wish I did not just get them confused, honestly. I wish that didn't happen. Like, how do I know which one is the what? Okay, I found out which one is the weak one. I found out. I've learned. I think this thing transforms, doesn't it? Like, it's got some special glowing second phase thing. Why is this taking so long? Oh, that's... Uh-oh. Let me find out that's a damage aura. I will literally shit myself. Are his animations faster or something? Like, I don't know what's different about him right now. I'm not gonna lie, using base knife was not in my intentions, but... Yeah, there we go. Oh my god, we're done with the Aleum Lois. Oh, fuck this area. Man, what the?
The Sunken King DLC, as I said earlier, is the most chill out of the 3 for me, and definitely a cooldown from suffering from all the other DLCs. Funnily enough, the most pressing issue reared itself nigh immediately: the pillars.
Like, how do you aim these? Bro, this shit is ass. How do you... Bro, it's getting worse. Fuck, god. That was a whole challenge run right there. I think there is actually a smart way to do this. Hold on. Where are my knocks? Because I think if you line up with these and then you throw... Oh, I am him. Hold on. Anyone else you've seen play Dark Souls 2? Anyone else you've seen play Dark Souls 2? Invalid. Watch this. Over the top. I didn't know I was playing with like a professional football player. Like, he's got quite an arm on him. This is the shot. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Did I plan on using the binoculars like this? No, but hey, it makes me look kinda smart in post. So after making our way to the temple, and Sin making a guest appearance...
Oh, holy shit, is that a dragon?
After working our way down, we reached the other stone buttons. The first one wasn't horrible after a little bit of finagling.
Bam! Oh shit, I'm good.
But the second one...
I think I'm too tall. I really don't think I can make this one. Sorry guys, sorry.
A bit more temple splunking with little difficulty later, we run into another invader. Now usually Jester Thomas here is a bit of a problem, but for some reason, his code just snapped in half.
Bro, dude, you're a pyromancer, aren't you? Do some magic, Shurin? Come on! Now he's just, like, not coded.
After running past the burnt nugget monsters and reaching the bonfire, I go back to level up and this happens.
Kind of looks functional if I do this. And by functional, I mean... Okay.
Then head back to the Sanctum for the Dragonstone in a certain section I may or may not show you.
Now, I don't know if this part's gonna make it in the video. I just want everyone to know where the Dark Souls 2 design team's head was at. Like why does she have like a fully modeled ass?
Then we reach the parkour section and fail at it.
Yeah, let me make this jump. Oh shit.
On our second attempt, we reach Alana. Now, what I was expecting was for her to be somewhat annoying, especially since she summoned Velstad and not the little skeletons. But I hate to say it, she was kind of fun. Dare I say, probably the most fun duo fight in this entire run. I don't think I ever focused Alana in any of my attempts of this boss fight. I was so used to hearing complaints about Velstad and the skeletons, I always viewed it as a fight I just endured, not putting much thought into it. But playing it back now, I enjoyed it. Velstad's slow enough where avoiding him isn't super difficult. Alana also has a very slow moveset, a lot of which have a very reactable delay. So this one wasn't as much of a challenge, as it was more me rediscovering how to enjoy this boss.
Easy shit, man. First try? Get this fucking... Crack this shit, bro.
Anyways, afterwards is Sin, a boss in one of the reviews I said was one of the better dragon fights in the trilogy. So needless to say, I didn't struggle too much here either, other than the occasional goofy hitbox. It was a pretty one-sided victory. I even managed to cut off his tail by accident. So after an overconfident celebration,
not only did I beat him, I destroyed him. Fuck out of here.
And grabbing the crown, meaning we have all three, there's one boss between us in the end of the run, the Grave Robbers. Why didn't I do them first? Because out of the Sunken 3, they are my least favorite boss, and I often forget they're even in the game. After leveling up from beating both of those bosses back to back, we head back to the Sanctum in search of the Sanctum key, where I was ducking around for the most part trying to avoid the Sanctum ghosts. We eventually find the room with the key and even more ghosts, and something interesting happens.
I don't ever remember getting their whole armor set from here. Did he just shoot dark? When did they just coded that move in yesterday? Got to.
After that, we head to the bridge that leads to the boss fight, parry the random invader to death, then we scramble to the boss area. The first run to the bottom was particularly bad, as I usually avoid this boss, so I didn't know exactly where to run to, which led to these statues spitting goo at me and randomly stunning me. Once I actually managed to make it to the boss, I brightbugged, trying to get this done in one try. That did not happen. My main issue with this fight was how close Not Havel and Not Alva were standing in this fight. The archer was quirky, but not a serious problem. But when you're using a weapon with little range and very little stagger, I'm sure you can see why I would have a problem with this trio fight. Funnily enough, on my second attempt, my controller just straight died, and when I switched to my shitty controller with drift, they immediately caught up to me and ganked me. This obviously prompted a little break.
Okay. Got a full meal. And by a full meal, I mean cereal. And, it's been like 15, 30 minutes or some shit. So, let's see what's good, man.
And afterwards, we were right back at the fight. I managed to slowly whittle down the archer's health and then kill him. Afterwards, I jumped down and for some reason unknown to me at the time, the Havel guy didn't follow, which prompted a one-on-one fight that was way more difficult than it had any reason to be. And if you're looking in the background and wondering why I'm healing with rogue water, I clean ran out of life gems at that point, meaning I just had to heal with what I had. After I finally managed to beat Not Alva, I immediately saw what happened to the Havel guy.
He got stuck on the fucking... Let's go.
Which, while not as bad as Not Alva, was a bit difficult since I had practically no healing resources to work with and my parry game was really bad for some reason.
Oh my god. Oh, he's dead. Oh. Bro, honestly, that shit felt like it would never end.
But after them, that's it. We head back to Vendrick and get the true crown, ending our run. Thank you all for accompanying me during this challenge. It's funny to think that the one challenge script that I recorded forever ago and I almost scrapped outvoted the Elden Ring review. And by all means, did pretty good. If you want to see more of me in the future, you might want to subscribe. Who knows? We may even return to Drain Lake sometime soon. But I think that's all I have to say, so with that, I've been out, and I am out.